I don't know how does speaking in Goa work. I've always spoken in official forums, so yeah, this is a bit awkward. Goa is always about vacationing, right? I hear that. So I've been asked to speak about my book, which is quite a task because Goa is meant to be a break. For the last 6 months, I've been promoting my book, so I thought this was going to be a break, but then I have to. And Gujarat Files is basically a self-published book because all my publishers decided in 2014 that it's too difficult a book and too dangerous a book to publish in the times we live in. I had a contract with two of the biggest publication houses and both of them, of course, eased out after Mr. Modi came to power. And yeah, this was the investigation that I did for Tehelka in 2010. At the age of 26, I went undercover, posing as this American Film Institute student called Maithili Tyagi, whose father was an RSS worker. And I had a French colleague along with me, somebody from Greenland, who were all there, posing as typical filmmakers, documentary makers. And in Gujarat, mind you, anything spoken with a fake American accent is acceptable. And there are no questions asked. So yes, there I was. That was the same year I also got the president of the ruling party, Amit Shah, behind bars. So yes. Please, I love that. Of course, that asshole is now in power. Yeah, he's a gunda, so a gunda needs to be called a gunda, right? Yeah, I don't need to mince words. So yes, so he came back to he's in power now and he has let off his snooping agents on me, which is quite a good feeling. So if there's any of a snooping agent here, hello there. So yes, I was undercover for 6 months, which is not really quite this, this facade that I've put up right now of being all cheerful. It's quite a psychological trauma of being undercover. That too at the age of 26. I was told not to take that big a risk because I was going to do a sting operation on not just anybody, but some of the top guys in Gujarat, which included Mr. Narendra Modi. So I started with basically filming, starting out as a filmmaker, going out shooting with Gujarati filmmakers and shooting item numbers with them. And there's a gentleman, father-son duo, Naresh and Hitu Kanodia. They were the big filmmakers from Gujarat. So I started out with them. I started filming their their film sequences, item numbers to kind of authenticate my identity as a filmmaker. And well, that's what I was doing. And then one fine day I told them, listen, I need to meet some cops. I'm making this film in vibrant Gujarat, so I need to meet the people who are the underbelly of the state. And that's how I started meeting people so that's how I began my sting operation. So right from the Commissioner of Police, the Director General of Police, the Anti-Terrorism Squad Chief, the Home Secretary, finally leading up to Narendra Modi, I'd done a sting operation on the entire lot. So I had at any given point of time, I had about 6 sting cameras on me at any given point of time. Wow. There was one attached to my kurta, a lovely Kashmiri kurta. This doesn't have one, but that was a very intricate Kashmiri kurta. So one of the cameras was hidden right here. There was one in my watch, another one in my shoe, one more in my hairband. No, that was a bandana. Yes, that's about it. And so every time I had to sting somebody, if I was wearing a kurta, so I would just press the button of the lower end of my kurta and the camera would start beaming. But if the recording continued for about more than an hour, 2 hours, then I had to start doing this because the machines would heat up. And then I had to literally go to the washroom and kind of cool off my machines, switch them off for a bit, and then come out and start doing the sting operation back again. I shot for about, I shot how many hours? I shot 65 hours of film, which is a lot of work. I had to then come back and transcribe. I self-published this book in 2016 this year. May 2016, I was expecting just about 50 to 100 people, most of my friends, to turn up at the event. And in a hall meant for 100 people, this is released at India Habitat Center on 26th of May, 600 people turned up, out of which every possible journalist, editor, politician in the country turned up for the book launch. And guess what? I displaced Chetan Bhagat from the #1 position for 3 weeks. Yes, well, for 3 weeks, I rid India of mediocrity. Amongst other things, yes. I would want to read some bit from the book, if you don't mind, to just give you an idea of how the book is all about. The sting operation, which I did on the ATS chief, his name is Rajan Priyadarshi. So after about 6 to 7 meetings with him, posing as this filmmaker, in which he shoots us, and he has this, he's this top police official from Gujarat who has his photograph all over the wall. So I start with this question. I say, your CM Narendra Modi, who is right now the Prime Minister of this country, your CM Narendra Modi is very popular here in Gujarat, ? Answer, yes, he fools everybody and people get fooled. He's speaking about the current day Prime Minister, for those who are not aware. Question, in that case, as additional DJ, you would have a tough time working under them. Answer, they never had the guts to force me to do anything illegal. Question, lawlessness is rampant here, no? Hardly any officers who are upright. Answer, there are very few of them. This man, Narendra Modi, has been responsible for the killing of Muslims across the state. Question, I hear that the cops also towed the line of the government. Answer, all of them, like this commissioner of police, it all happened in their presence. Muslims were killed. Question, most of the officers say that they have been implicated wrongly. Answer, what wrongly? They have done it, which is why they are now behind bars. They killed a young Muslim girl in an encounter. Question, really? Answer, they called her a Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist. She was from Mumbai. The story created was she was a terrorist who had come to Gujarat to kill Narendra Modi. The girl in question is Ishrat Jahan. Question, and it's false. Answer, yes, it's false. Question, and ever since I got here, everybody's talking about the Sohrabadi encounter. No, this was the encounter on the basis of which Amit Shah went behind bars, and later when Mr. Modi came to power, our Prime Minister came to power, he was given a clean chit. One day, Amit Shah, who was then the Home Minister, called him, and so this Shah calls me to his bungalow. Now, I've never gone to anybody's bungalow, nor anybody's residence or office. So I told him, sir, I haven't seen your bungalow, and he was baffled and asked, why haven't you seen my bungalow? Then he said, okay, I'll send you my private vehicle, coming back. So I said, okay, you send me a vehicle. So when I reach, he says, अच्छा, आपने एक बंदे को जो arrest किया है ना ATS में, उसे मार डालने का है. So this guy you have arrested, who is now in the ATS, you have to kill him. Who says this? Well, the president of the ruling party in India. I didn't react, and then he said, देखो मार डालो, ऐसे आदमी को जीने का कोई हक नहीं है. So immediately I came to my office and called a meeting of my juniors. I feared that Amit Shah would give them direct orders and get him killed. So I told them, see, I have been given orders to kill him, but nobody's going to touch him. Just interrogate him. I have been told by Amit Shah, I am not doing it, so you're also not doing this. Question, that was some bravado, sir. Answer, this Narendra Modi called me on the day of my retirement. And he asked me a question कि प्रियदर्शी जी ये बताओ कि गवर्नमेंट की आपके officials में मेरे खिलाफ कौन-कौन है? So the chief minister of a state calls up the ATS chief and asks him how many people in the state are against him, so that he can act in a vindictive manner and give them punishment postings. This is just one of the most easily readable chapters. The end of I concluded this book with one of the biggest political murders in India, which is the murder of the state home minister Haren Pandya. In this book, the cop on whom I did a sting operation says that it was the Narendra Modi government which got the home minister killed. In an ideal world, in an ideal situation, this should have been taken as evidence, and there should have been an investigation right now. The courts in the country should have taken suo motu action, but in an ideal world, in an ideal situation. Right now, we are in 2016, wherein our Prime Minister is talking about demonetization, and Mr. Amit Shah is talking about patriotism, and we are back to square one. So basically, we are being ruled by mafia guys and murderers. The Supreme Court, mind you, called Amit Shah in its charge sheet in 2010, which was presented before him, a conspirator, a murderer, somebody who took part in a rape and molestation and held 2 women in custody. And today, that man is the president of the ruling party. Now I'm saying this again, I'm repeating this line again, because at times it really becomes, I hope you understand where my frustration is coming from. I fought a long battle, a very, very long battle. First to get this man behind bars and then to sustain this case against him. Today I'm a proud anti-national by the yardstick of which the government is labeling nationals and anti-nationals. So I consider myself extremely anti-national today as I speak to you. And yeah, why am I speaking to you? Because I'm on a vacation, I'm supposed to speak to you so that you buy this book and talk about it. Because the moment we stop talking, that's exactly what Mr. Modi is basically sitting on. He's sitting on us people who have lost their moral compass, who are silent people, who are fence-sitters, who do not like speaking out. And that's the reason why for the last 6 months, I have toured every possible city in this country, city, state, because I believe that by speaking and by reading out from my book, I can raise the collective conscience of this country, which right now is quite immoral, I must confess. Because they all laud me, they all call me a brave and courageous girl, but I need to really ask them, hang on, why do you have to shoot from my shoulder? Why can't you speak what I'm speaking? For the last 6 years, I've been seeing a therapist, a psychiatrist. I cannot sleep without a sleeping pill. Why did I do this? I did this because I believe the people of my country are justice-loving people. I stayed in a bungalow I used to stay in a hostel at the start of the sting operation, and towards the end of it, I had occupied this this bungalow, which was owned by a family friend, where I had 1 dog and 1 cobra for company, a snake. And I spent 1 month there. And I'd go to sleep at 6 in the morning, because throughout the night I would fear, every time the dog would bark, I would think there's an intruder there, and I would not be able to sleep. And that's when I started getting addicted to sleeping pills. And today, as we stand, I have an anxiety disorder, I get panic attacks, I've suffered 3 bouts of depression, 1 nervous breakdown, because the organization, Tehelka, for which I did the sting operation, mind you, after this entire rigorous process of undercover operation, when I come back, tell me, so Rana, what have you got? And Mr. Tarun Tejpal, who was my editor then, he used to keep reviewing my stuff back in, back out, and say, oh, it's sensational, this is going to bring down the government. And on the day the day I landed in Delhi after doing this sting on Narendra Modi, he said, you know what, Rana, you've reached a bit too, this is getting too serious. I think we should just stop it here. And, the people that we're dealing with are right now people in power, and they can shut down Tehelka. So just let this be. Assume that it was an exercise for you. 6 months undercover operation was just an exercise wherein my life was in constant jeopardy. I could have been killed at any given point of time, and my editor had the audacity to tell me that, just let go. This was the same day, in the afternoon, I had met Narendra Modi, who was the last person on whom I was supposed to do a sting operation on. So I wear this wristwatch and walk inside in the CM's headquarters with my French guy, Hugo, because I knew Mr. Modi would be impressed by him, by the Gora Chamri. Sorry, no offense. Sorry, no offense meant. So Hugo walks in and Hugo looks at him and says, sir, I'm a huge fan. Everywhere I go in Gujarat, in autos, people have your picture. Mr. Narendra Modi gets a boost. And then he gives me 3 more appointments for the forthcoming weeks. And on his table in Gujarat, in his office, there's a book on Barack Obama. So I asked him, sir, what is this book? I mean, why is this book here? He said, oh, actually I brought this out because I knew you guys were coming in. I want to tell you that one day, I want to be like this man. And look at the audacity of hope. Today, as the Prime Minister of India, he actually shakes hands with Barack Obama and aspires to win the Nobel Prize, which he might just.
Oh my God.
We never know. In 2013, I would tell people, yeah, right, Modi is going to be the next Prime Minister. Yeah, right. And it happened, right? That's audacity of hope. I mean, you have to give it to Narendra Modi. That man really dreams big. Really. I mean, despite being such a criminal, such a gangster murderer, this man knows how to dream big from a chaiwala. Sorry, I don't mean to be condescending here. But from a chaiwala, this man today is the Prime Minister of the country, one of the most powerful countries in the world. And the journey has been laced with murders of innocents. One of the women who was killed in a fake encounter, Kausarbi, she was not even a terrorist. I mean, with others, Mr. Modi alleges, oh, they were terrorists. To this woman, the charge sheet says she was nowhere involved. She was raped, sedated by Mr. Modi's officials, and burned alive. And her body then decomposed and thrown into the river on the direct orders of Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, who were in a constant phone call with him and have put the call records in the public domain. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine for a minute that we are here in India being ruled by a man? That's how it is. I mean, well, I should now throw the floor open for questions if you have any. Waiting, before I published this book, from the year 2013-2015, after the Tehelka refused to publish it, I went to every possible news channel in this country, the topmost, and all of them are my friends, so everyone has seen this sting operation. Everyone has seen the videos, and they all refused to publish it. I intended to put this as a part of my book, but that is one stick, or that is one reason through which Mr. Modi can throw me behind bars. That is the IT Act. So if I release the tapes in the public domain without getting them checked through the forensics, I can be sent behind bars to the IT Act. And I know Mr. Modi is a shrewd guy, but I'm a bit too smart too, if I can do a sting operation on him. But yeah, I've learned the tricks of the trade from him. So I've not released the videos yet. I'm waiting for ideally the courts should have taken suo motu action. The Nanavati Commission, who's looking into the inquiry or the riots, should have approached me for the tapes. No one has approached me. The best thing is, all the 10 people on whom I've done a sting operation in this, in this entire investigation, not a single person has dragged me to court saying that this girl is lying. The easiest thing would have been for them to drag me to court if I was lying. Clearly, that explains the authenticity of the tapes and what has been said in the book. So far, there's not been a single case against me. I used to, till the day of my book launch, I used to get these threatening calls from all these Modi lovers. And this has been happening over the years. On the day of the book launch, the call stopped. There are no atrocious phone calls and messages on my phone anymore, because there's been a clear directive from the government that nobody's going to touch this girl, because the moment you touch her, the media is going to be proactive and then it's going to report on this book. So it has basically killed this book by its silence, but fortunately for me, Mr. Modi has not been able to kill it. As I stand today, I've sold 42,000 copies of the book, which is perhaps one of the biggest achievements for a self-published book anywhere in India. It's a record of sorts. And Business Standard wrote in its review that if India could send an entry to the Pulitzer, Gujarat Files would certainly be one of the topmost books this year. So I still believe there is a ray of hope there, and I am in talks with my lawyer, and hopefully someday, perhaps when I'm in a better position, when I'm well equipped with my legal, the tapes are going to the forensics sometime very soon. And once things are sound, hopefully I should go to the court. But then I'm not going to fight all battles. I need the support of people, I need the support of lawyers, because you can't really shoot from my shoulder every time. So yeah. There are people who have shown solidarity. But nobody really wants to take cudgels with Mr. Modi at this point of time. So I really do not have legal help, so to say. And I can't afford, to be very honest, I can't afford that kind of legal help. because it's a self-published book, and whatever money I'm getting in. So the book has already been published in 13 Indian languages already, the first for any Indian book, and we have gone to 2 editions already. And whatever money that I earn from the book goes into the proceeds for publishing it in various languages. And hopefully by next year, I'm planning to print about 50,000 copies and sell them in Hindi at 25 rupees per book and have distributed across all Indian villages, so that at least the people of this country are aware as to who is the man who's ruling them. Yeah. Fortunately for me, and that's the reason why I'm seeing a psychiatrist, I didn't switch out of the character. So I was playing this bigoted girl, Maithili Tyagi. The Maithili is the second name of Sita, so I was very shrewd here. So, and Tyagi is a caste surname, so she's neither scheduled caste nor is she an upper class Brahmin. She's somewhere in between. That's where most officers in Gujarat come from. But when the officers would talk about, for instance, the commissioner of police says, as commissioner during the riots, when Muslims would get a beating, I'd feel happy about it. Ideally, I should have cringed inside, right? But I literally prodded him to speak more, because that was my job. I had to play this bigoted individual who had absolutely no sense of character, who had absolutely no moral integrity, and who believed that India was practicing minority appeasement for quite some time, which is why she herself moved to LA. And I played my character quite well. In a span of 6 months, I spoke to my family twice, that too from a local PCO. There was absolutely no communication with the outside world. Nobody knew where I was. My Facebook account was deactivated. Not a single picture on the internet. No emails. So if I had switched on and switched off my character, I could have been caught, and that would have been the end of it. But yes, on one occasion, in fact, I have to share this anecdote. So I had befriended a couple of Gujarat cops. So this lady, who was the deputy superintendent of police, her name was Usha Rada. Now, she saw me with those grey lenses, bandana, hippie avatar. She was really impressed. An American has come to shoot me. All right? So she takes me out. So I meet her every day. I go to her place. We have dinner and we talk about the prosperity in Gujarat, the developing, vibrant Gujarat. And one day, I was just about to do a sting operation on her. So I'm waiting for her at her residence, and she comes in and says, Maithili, we are going for a movie. As per practice, I'm wearing my green kurta with a camera. So I said, no, but can we do this movie some other time? How about just sitting at home, chilling, and just perhaps drink a coffee? And he said, no, I want to show you this terrific movie. It's called No One Killed Jessica. I don't think anyone had got the drift. So No One Killed Jessica is a film which is based on a Tehelka investigation. So we walk into the theatre. There are these metal detectors. Of course, I wasn't ready for it. So my kurta has a camera. My watch has a camera. At that day, my bandana had a camera. So I know if I walk past the metal detector, I'm going to be caught, and that's going to be the end of the story. But then I'm a God-fearing person, and I believe in the powers up there. So just I'm about to walk with Usha Rada, the cop, the personal security says, "Hey, ma'am, you don't have to walk through security, just pass by," because she also had a pistol. So I was saved that day. I get into the theatre. So the credits, based on a true story. So the No One Killed Jessica starts with, based on a Tehelka investigation. So Usha Rada looks at me and she says, "You should know about this Tehelka." I said, "What?" He said, "They're rascals." I said, "Really?" He said, "You know what? They go around with cameras on them and sting people." I really just laughed at me because I was there with a camera burning inside me. I said, "Really? They must be rascals. This is so unethical." He said, "Yeah. In fact, he did a sting operation on the Babu Bajrangi and other people, and they got our people caught." I said, "Really?" She said, No, once I go back, I'll send you a few magazines. You should certainly write about them in your book, about how these rascals are actually bringing disrepute to the country." That was one moment which I really thought. There were many such, of course, many such moments. It's really uncanny, it's really unreal when somebody sitting next to you says, "Tehelka guys are rascals," and look at her with a straight face with not a single wrinkle on your face. I'm laughing, really. Yeah. So, indicted by there are commissions of inquiry into this. So if the country, if the legal system wants, it can send these people behind bars, and not just these 10 people, but also the people who they are indicting. But the unfortunate bit is that in the time that we are living in, the judiciary and the cops, everybody, including the commissioners of inquiry, work on the diktat given to them by the Prime Minister's office.
So my question is, have you gone to the courts with the material and have they rubbished it or not?
No. I can't do. That's exactly what I told him. That the moment I do that, I approach the court with the material, the court will ask me if the material has gone through the forensic tests.
So they can order the forensic test.
They can order, but they aren't willing to take it.
So the court does not want to
take it? The court does not want to take it. It will only take it once I've passed the forensic test, and I cannot release the tapes in the public domain because they have not been passed by the forensic. The only way out is for me to get a lawyer and get an independent forensic test on it done, pay a lot of money, which requires a lot of money. It has to be done very discreetly because there are only 2 forensic laboratories in the country, and both are monitored by the Prime Minister's office directly. So it has to be done by an independent agency. That's where I'm saying there should ideally have been suo motu notice. The court should have taken notice of this material because it's out in the public domain. Everybody's reading it. Newspapers have reported on it extensively. There have been reviews about this book. So easily, the courts can. The lawyers of the public prosecutors, who are actually the prosecuting agency in the riots, can take suo motu cognizance. But they haven't. Unfortunate bit, yeah.
What about the opposition? If you go to opposition,
well, my friend,
just want to know
if only we had an opposition.
What opposition?
If only we had an opposition. So on the day of the book launch, the ex-Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Prithviraj Chavan, was sitting there. There was Ahmed Patel, the biggest name in the Congress right after Sonia Gandhi. Every possible person in the Congress. I expected the next day they would raise a hue and cry. But they were all silent. Till today they are silent. So, good for them that they're in the opposition. I mean, serves them right. Yes, please.
Yeah, you had a lot of equipment like cameras and the watch and here and there hidden. I mean, it's like James Bond style. Is that stuff you can buy just on the net, or you had?
No. So the organization that I work for is known for its investigations and it's known for its sting operations. So we have people who we commission to make us those equipments. But when I went for the sting operation, a couple of them were customized for me because with men it's easier to get them on a watch or in their wallet or in their diaries. But with me they had to be extra careful, so they got them stitched in my clothes. Because the kind of people that I was dealing for the first time were very, very shrewd bureaucrats. They're themselves ex-RAW agents, diplomats who have actually worked as spies in the past, so they would be more careful. So I had to be one step ahead of where they would be, where their thought process would be. So my telephone was sanitized completely. There was absolutely no sign of my original name and any friend list.
Sorry, I have a question in this.
Yeah.
So Tehelka did this all for you? To prepare?
I did it for Tehelka. So you mean the cameras?
No, camera.
Yes.
Who was giving you the resources to do this?
Tehelka, the organization. Yes. So my organization, procured all these cameras. There were 6 or 7 cameras.
Excuse me, the cover of your book has a picture of a gecko and perhaps a pigeonhole. Does it represent anything?
This?
The lamp.
I wish it represented the man. Actually, it's more like it. But this picture was taken. This is there's a hole and there's a lizard, and there's a small fly up there, which you might just miss. And there's another lizard here on the cover of the book, on the back cover. All right. So this friend of mine is a photographer friend, and she was shooting in a village in India, and there are these mud walls. So she saw this image. It was very gory for her, very gross and very dark. She just shot this image, and she's known me over a period of time. So when I approached her to do the design for the book, she said, it will be very uncharacteristic. I mean, it will be very unlike you to have a Narendra Modi photograph on the cover of the book. We need to have something really dark as the book is. So I saw this image. I mean, you can have various interpretations. So this lizard is basically on the prowl of something. She's getting into this dark space. She does not know what lies inside. She knows it's dark inside, but she doesn't know what lies inside. There could be a lot of threat, danger, perhaps nothing. That's one. The other interpretation could be this lizard, which is in the position of power, is about to, eat the fly here. So the powerful trying to, yeah, that's how it is. I mean, it can have as many interpretation as the picture, so yeah. Yes, please. I literally infiltrated them. And so I know it's not, see, people assume that sting operations happen, or you go with a sting camera and you just do a sting. No, this wasn't one of them. I wasn't doing a sting on just any, and somebody who loves to boast about, his bravado. No, these were people who had served in the RNW and diplomats. They were seasoned people, and I knew how to get there. The only way I could get there was to become a part of them, to become a part of this circle. And I became a part of that circle. And it wasn't an easy task. I mean, I would drive 400 kilometers to go to somebody's ancestral house for a wedding. Because I'd mentally had become a part of their, and this is a small little community of officers and bureaucrats. You introduce yourself to one, and then it's a small circle. Then they all stay together, of course, in the same colony. So it was easier because mentally you meet people on walk. I'd meet PC Pandey on a walk. Hello sir, what's up? And you say, आज कहाँ जा रही हो? Sir, वो रायगढ़ जी को मिलने जाना है. कि उन्होंने चाय पे बुलाया है. So mentally became a part of their lives. This is not just 6 months. It took me 9 months from the process of initiation. I became a part of their life, and this is where I'm going to give myself credit that I'm really good. No,
Perhaps
that's a
an
better
acting
word for it.
career.
I'm really good at sweet talking and entrenching people's lives. I mean, if I sit with you for the next 3 days, you will call me home for dinner. You still can, but yeah. I mean, I'm the kind of person who can do that. I can really sweet talk people into, for instance, PC Pandey's son was a diamond trader in Surat. I figured that. So I said, sir, I want to see your son's diamond trading business. How does it work? I want to go back to LA and talk about this really terrific industry in Surat and how it works. So I went all the way to Surat to meet his son, and then I had Take Plus with them in the morning. This wasn't an easy exercise. I mean, the kind of antidepressants that I've taken post sting operation, it's phenomenal. Really, I'm serious when I say this. They are not recommended for somebody my age. I've literally almost made an emergency landing of a flight because I got an anxiety attack on the flight. So the flight had to be diverted. That was the level of fear that was there inside me. But that also was the level of hard work that I was putting in every day into the investigation. So, well, I would urge you to believe it.
No, I mean, a question of not believing it.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, yeah, I've been, a lot of people said, when they were reading the book, they almost said, okay, shit, now she might just be killed. Now she's on the verge of being caught. Now, and they really stopped reading the book at that point of time. Trust me, my mom went through similar sentiments in real time. Every day for 6-7 months, she had no idea if her daughter was alive or dead. And I mean, I really owe a lot to my parents. They didn't know whether their daughter was alive or dead. They had no idea. They would call Tarun and Shoma in office and they said, we have no idea. Very nonchalantly. I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but yeah. There's a lot which has gone into it. In fact, a lot of passion with which I speak about this book in various occasions for the last 6 months has been a resting period of 6 years. So I finished the sting operation in 2011, February, March, and I published this book in 2016. 5 years of constantly seeking therapy. Constant seeking therapy, breaking down in front of a family saying, I can't sleep with this, I can't sleep with this. And finally one day my doctor said, Rana, I'm tired of treating you. I don't know what to tell you. Because if you want to do it, why don't you just do it or just end it? Just assume this was another story that was killed by your editors and just move on. And I would go back home and say, okay, the story was killed, I'm moving on. But the next day I would get back my anxiety attacks because I was going against my basic nature. I was sitting on something which I knew would shake the public conscience. And I couldn't allow myself to do it. And one fine day I went to him and said, I have to do this. So he said, okay, what are the pros and cons? I said, jail and jail. He said, no, I'm sure there's something better than that. I said, well, if the media covers the book well, then this is going to be one of the biggest journalism books in the country, and I'll be setting a trend in India of investigative journalism and path-breaking journalism and fearless journalism and all the adjectives attached to it. He said, what is the con? I said, perhaps the moment I release the book, 1, there will be an injunction on the book immediately after, and 2, I'll be thrown behind bars and I'll be charged. There may various acts that Mr. Modi has slapped against journalists from Gujarat. So I think 22nd, 23rd, I released the book. I was sitting with my lawyer, Brinda Grover, very well-known woman, and she said, "You really want to do this?" I said, "Well, now I've taken the plunge. I've taken a 6 lakh loan from HDFC to print this book. I bloody might as well do it because I've put in everything I own. My gold had been pawned. All my savings I'd been jobless for 6 years. I said, this is the only way out." She said, "Okay, but nobody can really stop you from doing anything, so it's your call." As luck would have it, and there's something, I had a feeling that Mr. Modi would not get an injunction on my book because getting an injunction is the easiest way to get it free publicity. He's a very smart man. I love that man. Really, imagine the kind of smartness that he has. So not a single media house has every editor in this country, every news channel editor, every newspaper editor has actually called me to congratulate me on the book, saying, "But trust me, they see me in public, they act as if they have seen a ghost, and they run to the next possible direction. They do not even acknowledge me publicly. I've become a pariah of sorts. People who were offering me jobs earlier, of course, I'm jobless for good. I'm not getting a job in journalism anytime soon, unless I start my own venture, but that's for that. Right now, this is just Gujarat Files because my life has become a hashtag Gujarat Files. And I'm shamelessly publicizing this book. Shamelessly. Even if there's an audience of 5, I'm publicizing my book. Because that's all I have. And yeah.
So did any of the people whose confidence you had managed to...
I wish that called me.
Did anyone get back to you?
No, not at all. Not one. It's a well-worked syndicate. The moment the first excerpt of the book was out, they were all sent a message that you are not speaking to the media at all. Except for one person, 2 people in fact. They were called by the Indian Express and they said, "Yes, we met a girl called Maithili Tyagi in 2010, and yes, we said what we said at that point of time." So that by itself is an indictment of the situation. But again, Indian Express published a story. Ideally, this acceptance that yes, we said what we said should have been the main lead in all news channels, ideally. But then, yeah. Community. The reason why I got through as Maithili Tyagi and worked for him is because I told him that the premise of the film was it was to be shown in most parts of Canada, Kenya, and in LA and in various places where there are Gujaratis who have settled and they want to showcase to the world the kind of great work that Mr. Modi has done. And yes, what you're saying is right. So I had a book launch in Dubai. I had a book launch in other states, but look at this. So I had a book launch in Doha, which is allegedly an Islamic country, so where you do not expect Mr. Modi to be so popular. So I landed Doha airport, and Mr. Modi's, so that's again an impact of the book. So the Indian embassy stops me at the Doha airport and says, "Sorry ma'am, your event has been cancelled." And I was there to speak at an event on APJ Abdul Kalam. It was an absolutely innocuous, harmless event. I was not even there to speak about my book. But he got the Indian embassy to cancel my event in Doha, wherein the Indian embassy told the organizers, either you uninvite Rana Ayyub, uninvite her, or we cancel the event. So the event was cancelled and we did this next door at a restaurant. That's our powerful Mr. Modi. And that's, so when you say internationally, yes, we have been trying to do this. So I am doing an event in Colombia in March next year at the Columbia Journalism School, where I'm going to speak about this. And I am looking for people who can invite me and get me to speak. So I keep posting about it. Anybody who's interested in in getting me to speak about this book, I've been doing this. I've been doing this for 6 months. This is my first break in 6 months, almost second. Yeah, I literally take 2 flights in a day. And when I come back home late in the night, trust me, there is no worse exertion than that. And the next day I have to take another flight. I've been traveling every day for 6 months. I go to schools, colleges, villages, because for me the point right now is for people to at least acknowledge the existence of the book. Content comes in much later. Content will follow, of course, but they have to acknowledge the existence of this book, that because the media has completely, except for the book reviews, which people in rural India do not read. So the way this book has been silenced, the way Mr. Modi has handled the media, the book has not got any publicity. People who have got the book are for people who access Amazon, who access Flipkart. These are the people who have got my book, or people who I have sold directly. For instance, I've got copies here to sell today. This is how I'm selling. So imagine how tough it will be for me to, kind of. I honestly, I can't tell you how do I feel about what happened in Gujarat as a Muslim, because I never see really myself. When it comes to this work, I'm a practicing Muslim. But when it comes to this work and this entire investigation in Gujarat, I have really treated myself very objectively. I've kept my faith aside. Not that I'm ashamed of it, I'm really proud to be a Muslim. But I went there the first time as a relief worker. I was 19 when I went to Gujarat for the first time, and I'm a child of the Bombay riots. Till the time I was 8, we used to stay in a very cosmopolitan society in Bombay when the 1993 Bombay riots took place. So we were the only Muslims in a predominantly Hindu locality. My father was a government school teacher that they would all call him Master Ji. That's a local teacher who would get admission for everybody. And there was an RSS Shakha right next to our house, so those people would come home and tie, the thread around my father's wrist on Teachers' Day, on that Guru Purnima, etc. Trust me, on 6th December 1982, our next door neighbor, who was my mom's closest friend and her sister, she comes to her and says, "Didi, Ayodhya se bhini khushbu aa rahi hai." The mosque had been demolished. And on our door, there was a big poster which said, "Chalo Ayodhya 6 December." Overnight, they had made plans to abduct both of her sisters and take us somewhere. Our another neighbor, who was a Sardar, actually told my father that I'm going to take these 2 girls and they're not going to see you for a while. I was 9, my sister was 13. That day, I became a Muslim for the first time. I suddenly wanted to know what had happened to my neighbors. They had changed. Everybody had changed. People for whom would really cuddle me and, talk to me. Suddenly my friends, my non-Muslim friends were no longer accessible. I had become, that word Muslim became a dirty word. It's like, oh, she's a Muslim. So we went to stay at this Sikh household, wherein, when people would visit them, saying, "Who are these girls?" And they'll say, "Oh, they are these Muslim girls." And they didn't have to say anything else after that. We were there for 2 months. We did not even have a phone call. So every time Bagga uncle, our Sadar uncle, would come home, we would figure whether our parents were alive or not. And I saw injustice happening right in front of me. We were thrown out of our homes. And of course, 92 riots did not get justice till date. It hasn't got justice. Thousands of people have been killed. So when the Gujarat riots took place, I was in college. And I said, I had to do something about it. So I told my parents I was going on a trek. I packed my stuff. I went to Gujarat, putting a bindi, working as a relief worker. And I saw people, I remember this really stark image of this Muslim guy with a beard. He had blood all over him. So this was very close to somewhere in Sabarkantha in Gujarat. So he saw me with a bindi and he was taken aback. He said, "No, ma'am, sorry. No, maaf karo. And he was all with complete blood. Right? I said, "Kya hua, sir? I'm a relief worker. मैं मदद करना है." बोलते नहीं. He was scared of me, the girl with the bindi. So we asked him, "Where did he stay?" We went to the relief camp. 7 women there were raped. They were bleeding the entire day. They were not a single hospital. And they had lost most of their family members. One woman who I distinctly remember, her husband was slaughtered the previous night. And all of this was happening barely 20 kilometers from Mr. Narendra Modi's office. 20 kilometers. And that child who suddenly became a Muslim on 6th December decided that if at all I have to do something in life, then I have to become a journalist. That's all I can do. There are 2 ways of doing it. One, I get associated with an NGO, work for them, which I did not believe. I really am not a believer of, I will join an NGO and perhaps justice will happen. The only way out for me was to become a journalist, and that made me become a journalist. So when Manzara was behind bars and this was in 2013, he wrote a letter which became public, and I published the letter saying that I am not responsible. The people I'm serving are evil people, and they are responsible. Amit Shah, Narendra Modi, and all of this. Much could be done in that case, because there was really, and you know, the way Manzara had done things, because they were really so brazen about it, that they would do these murders. And for instance, Ishrat Jahan, this 19-year-old girl who was called a terrorist who was out to assassinate Narendra Modi, when they killed her and when they put her body on display at the press conference, she had a college I card around her. Now, which terrorist goes to assassinate a chief minister wearing a college I card? It was so brazen. Their FIRs, which Banzara had written. So he was the officer in charge of all the when all the 5 fake encounters took place. He was the officer in charge. Can you believe this? The first seven paragraphs read verbatim. I mean, you almost gave it to the CBI on a platter, so he had to be arrested. The Congress government really could. Amit Shah went behind bars in 2010, and Congress was in power till 2014. They could have really convicted him in that case. They let him off. So I don't think the Congress had any role to play. The CBI was led by a very diligent team, and there was evidence all over the place. I was supposed to release the book in 2014 May, and somebody said, listen, this is the Lok Sabha election, people will assume that you're motivated and you're doing it at the time of the general elections. So I said, okay, I'm not doing it. Then I was trying to do it another time, and they said, oh, it's Delhi election and you can't do it during Delhi elections. And in India, there's an election every 2 months. So in 2016, when I was about to release my book, 4 states were going for elections. And I said, okay, I will release the book once the exit polls are out. I couldn't really. And then they said, so I chose a timing when elections were done with, everything was fine. And suddenly one fine day, an intelligent journalist calls me and says, it is 2 years of Modi government's completion, Modi has completed in power. Did you coincide your book along with it? Trust me, I had no idea that Modi had completed 2 years in power. So India is an eventful country, everything happens. I mean, there's something or the other which happens here. I really couldn't pick up a date and say, okay, this is election time. I mean, I could have easily done that. In 2014, the Congress could have possibly, helped me. But I did not want to do it, because had I released my book in 2014, then my entire integrity as a journalist would have gone down to zero that day. Because they would have said, all explanation given, they would have assumed a motive behind it. And I did not want any Congress or AAP, or for that matter, any opposition support to the book. So there was a risk. I carried just one camera that day. And because it was my first day meeting the CM, it was basically a recce of sorts. So I had to figure how many metal detectors are in the place so that I can safely carry a camera. So I did not go with any camera on me except for this one wristwatch whose cells I removed before getting in. So yeah, I did not carry any camera except for this little bit that I have done a sting operation on, where Mr. Modi is telling me, I met Lijiye, come sit here, and I'm fond of Barack Obama. That bit is in camera, but that does no harm to him. Today he will want the tapes from me for that bit. Yeah, but he speaks fluent English, as opposed to the kind of drama that he does. I mean, fluent English, trust me. And he has this Swami Vivekananda thing. He says, he's my God. And really, that was the only moment I cringed. When he says Swami Vivekananda is my God. So that was the only moment that
What happened that you did not go?
Because my office called me back saying we're not going ahead with this investigation anymore.
Okay.
Because they were really scared that if I did a sting operation on the Chief Minister's office and he was all set to become the Prime Minister, their office would be shut. So they didn't allow me to go back. That's the day the investigation was called off. That was the last day of my investigation. So when Mr. Modi's people started calling me saying, are you coming back on Saturday? I said, there's been a bereavement in my family, and that was the day I tore apart the SIM card and threw everything in the dustbin. That was the last day of my investigation. Because I had to. I can't really keep a SIM card in place so that they don't track my movement. And I had to keep that investigation discreet till such time that I come out in the open and declare that I was doing a sting operation. So I had to cut the SIM card into 2 or 3 pieces, put them in a piece of paper, destroy them. My phone had to be thrown because it has the IMEI numbers. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. You've been a terrific. I mean, to have something like this in Goa is something which I really enjoyed. I mean,
Cheers for Rana!
thank you.